After the successful release of Superman, James Gunn needs to take notes for his Batman from this DCAU show about the Caped Crusader. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. With Superman soaring in the skies of the box office charts and critics' outlets, James Gunn should take notes from Batman, the brave and the bold, for his Caped Crusader in DCU's future. Since hope, empathy, and courage are the backbone of the franchise, this show ticks all the right boxes. While the development of a Batman film is still ahead in the distant future, we can expect Gunn to take notice of the show and what it did right to deserve a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The tones, themes, and messages the show managed to translate to the audience were nothing short of genius. At the same time, many fans have also suggested Brandon Sklenar for the role of the titular protagonist, in which the star showed interest when he posted a fan art of himself on @BrandonSklenar/IG. After the successful release of Superman, James Gunn needs to take notes for his Batman from this DCAU show about the Caped Crusader. The animated series ditched the dark, gloomy setting that the previous iterations were known for, and instead focused on the more adventurous and courageous side of the superhero. In contrast, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker was so dark that it had to be censored. For the longest time, Batman has inhabited the role of a vigilante for justice, the silent shadow that walks in the darkness of night, one that crime fears. On the other hand, Batman, the brave and the bold, was a change in the character of the superhero that nobody knew they needed. To the end, the show combines humor, vibrant visuals, and heartfelt moments that are an ode to the Silver Age of comics, something that Gunn realizes and respects. That is not to say that the show doesn't shy away from mature elements like death, grief, and moral grayness either, but the direction and core tone of the show is never compromised, which is courage and honor. This Batman doesn't scare the audience, but inspires courage, and looks forward to the calm after the storm. The tone of the show revolved around contrast, where in a world of quirky characters, Batman tries to be stoic and methodical, not dark and brutal like his other iterations. Though still equally badass in nature, the contrasts in the setting made the theme more light and soothing, but still every bit as engaging. An instance in the series where hope and unity made an impact on the story was in Season 2, Episode 24, titled The Mask of Matches Malone. Here, Black Canary and Huntress risk everything to save Batman when he loses his memory and falls into crime. Their unwavering belief in Batman's true nature gives him the strength to break free from his false identity. Although the next Dark Knight is still to be decided, Gunn has to take a risk with Batman, the same risk he took with Superman in his recent film. This character needs a tonal shift, where instead of embracing the darkness, he actively fights against it and inspires others to do so as well. Fan suggestions have been flowing around for actor Brandon Sklenar to be considered for the role of the next Batman of the DCU. These were only given more weight when the star reposted the story on Instagram. Rather than a vigilante, he needs to be a hero everyone looks up to, the one everyone gets behind, and the one who brings the light to disperse the darkness. Do you want a brave and the bold style story for DCU's Batman? Tell us in the comments down below. James Gunn's Superman features a 12-minute dialogue scene that became his favorite moment, offering emotional depth rarely seen in superhero movies. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Speaking with Josh Horowitz, James Gunn addressed his unprecedented 12-minute talking scene between Lois Lane and Clark Kent. During the discussion, the filmmaker revealed that the scene had barely changed from the time he first wrote it. According to Gunn, the final version used in the movie is almost exactly the same as the one they screen tested. Perhaps a few lines or two were trimmed, but the overall structure, dialogue, and shots stayed true to the original idea. That alone shows how confident he was in this scene. Now, what made that scene even more interesting is how James Gunn treated both characters equally. He didn't just make Superman the obvious hero or Lois the one who's always right. Instead, he made sure both characters had valid arguments. In that scene, he made Lois Lane stand for truth and practicality, while Clark Kent focused on the value of life and doing the right thing. These are two very different yet important ways of seeing the world, and Gunn wanted both to be respected in the scene. Part of that also shows just like how each of these characters comes across in the scene. I mean, when I wrote the scene and I look at the scene myself, I see both their points of view. I see Lois's point of view. I see, his point of view. She's talking about truth and he's talking about life, right? Both important values and both their key important values in their lives. James Gunn shared that when he watches the scene, he sees both sides clearly. He agrees with both of them at different moments, and that's what makes the scene work so well. Lois questions the consequences of Superman's actions, whereas Clark believes that saving lives in the moment is always the right thing to do. In a world where superhero movies are often filled with punches and explosions, James Gunn flipped the script, literally. His newly released Superman film isn't just packed with epic battles and alien threats, it also features a 12-minute conversation. Yes, just a raw, dialogue-heavy discussion between Lois Lane and Clark Kent. No action, just a deep dive into truth, morality, and the meaning of life. It's the kind of creative risk that most superhero directors don't dare to take. However, for James Gunn, it became not only a standout moment in the film but also his personal favorite. During an interview with Josh Horowitz, Gunn admitted this talking scene was the biggest gamble of the movie, because superhero fans aren't used to sitting still that long unless a city is crumbling. Josh Horowitz asked, "What was the biggest risk you took creatively?" James Gunn responded, "The biggest risk I took was putting a 12-minute talking scene in a superhero movie. There's just no doubt. It's fantastic. It's probably my favorite scene in the film. If I haven't seen it as many times as I have, and if I ever have to see it again, I'll jump out that window. So let's check out what makes it so special." Because, as per Gunn, it's the most honest, nuanced, and surprisingly human scene throughout the movie. And not to mention, the director also cited this heavy conversation as the loudest moment in his superhero movie. Further into the conversation, James Gunn admitted that while both Lois Lane and Clark Kent make strong points, most people naturally agree with Superman. After all, Clark represents our moral compass. He believes saving lives is the top priority, even if it means rushing in without knowing all the details. By letting both characters speak their minds and showing their perspectives honestly, James Gunn brought out a rare emotional depth in his superhero movie. He wasn't interested in who was right or wrong. He wanted to show a real debate between two smart, passionate people who care about doing what's best. In the scene, we can see how she questions Superman's methods, wondering if his actions might actually lead to more harm than good. Her thinking is based on real-world consequences, not just good intentions. This is what makes the conversation more balanced and believable. Through this debate, Gunn gave us a fresh look at Superman. This view is inspiring, and it reflects the kind of hero people look up to. But James Gunn also pointed out that this mindset can sometimes be too simple. That's why he had to carefully adjust the scene during editing. He didn't want Superman to feel one-dimensional. So, he made sure Lois's voice remained strong and logical. Instead of making him the flawless symbol of hope, James Gunn portrayed Clark Kent as a bit rash. David Corenswet's character is shown as he acts quickly, driven by emotion and the